What is your embarrassing story of oops wrong room? Walking into my boss's office and seeing his wife sucking him off. Had an internship as a nurse. My job in the morning was going around and measuring blood pressure and pulse of basically all the patients on the station. One day I walked into a room and cheerfully said good morning. A group of crying relatives looked at me. The patient died overnight and no one told me. I'm a maintenance tech for a large rental company. Once a month we change air filters for residents and check for other maintenance issues. Not long ago, I was completing this monthly task for one of our complexes. I always knock twice and ring the doorbell, if applicable, and announce myself as maintenance and the task that I mean to complete. I do my spiel at one of the doors and no answer. The resident's car is gone, so he must not be here. I unlock the door and knock one last time and announce myself as throw open the door. There on the couch, headphones on, laptop rolling, and naked as a jaybird, was a resident's girlfriend, I'm guessing, going to town on herself. I've never seen this person in my life. What a meet and greet. I'm startled and she must have seen the light from outside when the door opened because she spun her head toward me fast enough to break her neck. Looking at each other with total embarrassment, I slowly backed out of the door, closed and locked it back again. I didn't go back to change the filter that day. I figured we would give that experience a day or so to pass over. Embarrassing. Very. Accidentally walked into a hentai viewing room at a convention while trying to find a friend. Once I had to shit so bad that I just ran into a toilet and started relieving myself. After I'm done and stepped out to the cubicle, I saw a lady at the basin. She calmly said to me, "You must be in the wrong toilet." I was in the choir for a funeral of a 6-year-old girl. I was around 12 at the time and went to the same school she attended. We were told beforehand that rehearsal would be in the church's cry room. That was wrong, because the cry room was actually the open casket. It was a pretty small room, so by the time I realized what was happening I was already halfway inside. I tried to play it off in front of obviously grieving close family by walking up to the casket and paying my respects the best I could. I was on a safari with my family for a game drive. You wake up super duper early to go and see the animals. Had to get something from another tent, then returned to mine. Wasn't wearing my contacts yet, and upon returning to my tent, I opened the zipper. I was standing in the doorway and suddenly something moved in my bed. I high-pitched screamed, which was answered by an evenly loud scream of some guy who was equally shocked someone was screaming in the doorway of his tent at 5:30 am. Yeah, turns out my tent was the next one. Felt sorry for waking him and very embarrassed. Jumped into the wrong car and the driver thought I was hijacking him. Tried to find a bathroom at a house party when I was about 15. Walked in on the host's older sister and her boyfriend doing it. Have never seen so much panic and anger in someone's face. She came downstairs pretty soon after and had a very heated conversation with her brother in the kitchen. Once she left he told everyone and had a good laugh about it. Typical little brother, and I felt really bad in case they could hear. But, as I found out from my friend, the room does have a lock on the inside. At the end of the day they were kind of asking for it with around 30 teenagers partying in a house with one bathroom that was right next to her room. Being a supportive family member who has a couple of gay family members, I ended up going to Pride with them. I got lost from them and I saw a room labeled the dungeon. I thought to myself, hey, that sounds pretty neat. As soon as I walked in the door it was room full of TV screens with BDSM gay porn playing in the screen. I instantly did a 180 and walked right out the door like Grandpa Simpson. Was running slightly late to class when at university, so was doing that weird jog walk to get to class. Not stopping, I quickly opened the door to see a full projection screen size image of a woman's vagina with a baby crowning. Complete the painful nails on chalkboard sounds of labor. The lecturer just casually asked, "Can I help you?" As if this was totally normal. And completely wide-eyed I just stammered and asked where the marine vertebrates seminar had moved to. Turns out my marine biology class had switched rooms, so the midwifery students could use this classroom with projector to watch their childbirth documentary. But because I was running late I didn't get the memo. I, a guy, was at a fancy modern cafe and I had to use the bathroom. The signs for the men's and women's room looked weird, and I couldn't tell which was the men's room. I eventually found out when I had finished, washed my hands, and opened the door to find a woman waiting. Walking into an apartment room looking for a friend who gave me the wrong directions and sees a 15-year-old jerking off to pictures of Marilyn Monroe. In basic training, I caught two guys ducking in the shower room. Went grocery shopping 2 days after moving into my new apartment. Came back, wondered why the door was unlocked, and let myself in to see the layout slightly different. My downstairs neighbor then poked her head out from the living room and just looked at me. I noped out of there and hastily went up to my own floor. Great introduction though. Not wrong room, but last week I walked into my grandfather chainsawing a moose head in our garage. Wasn't really enjoyable for either of us. Wasn't all that bad, but it's my only wrong room story. Was walking around uni once looking for a particular study room, having been given vague directions. There were 3 of these study rooms in a row, so I tried the middle room first. Walked in on some theater practice group, all girls, changing. 2 of them had literally just taken their bras off, so I got an eyeful immediately before realizing what was happening and quickly averting my gaze. I froze for a second, tried to look one of them in the eyes, failed, said yeah not this room then sorry. To their credit, they seemed completely unfazed. The one I tried to look at in the eyes just smiled and waved it off with an all good. And for all the horny redditors out there, yes, the 2 seconds of true sight yielded glorious results. They were fairly well stacked and beautifully shaped. When I was about 12 years old we moved into an apartment for about 6 months. When we were between houses, we had only lived there a short time. When I went home for dinner I rushed into the apartment and made a beeline for the bathroom. It was then I realized I had walked into the wrong apartment. I was so oblivious to my surroundings I had not even noticed the people in the dining room were not my family. Came into work, entered through the front door, and got asked, "How may I help you?" from the counter. Realized I entered the company next to ours while brain AFK. Said, "Sorry, wrong company," turned around and left. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.